Hello, I'm Bill Coleman. Welcome to another edition of This is Worcester. Today we're going to continue our conversation on the historical aspects of one of the greatest restaurants that existed in Worcester. Worcester has had some fabulous restaurants over the year. The restaurant I'm talking about is the El Morocco. Now, the El Morocco was on Wall Street in Worcester, and it was an excellent restaurant, had a lot of famous people come up there. And it started pretty much in the mid 40s, and it was powerful in the 50s, the 60s. Celebrities from Hollywood, from New York, came over. They all came to the El Morocco. And my very special guest today is an El Morocco historian. He used to work there. His family used to work there, Mr. Richard Pinto. And he's going to talk about what he remembers about the El Morocco. We have several pictures of celebrities and members of the Haddad family and the Aboudi family. And we'll be talking about that, and he'll give us his perspective on the El Morocco, the celebrities that were there, and what it was like, the atmosphere for the people in Worcester to go up, stand in line to maybe get a glimpse of certain personalities that will be passing through Worcester, because they all passed through and they all wanted to go to the El Morocco. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce you to my very special guest, Mr. Richard Pinto, the historian for the El Morocco. So thanks a lot for coming on the show again.
Just mentioning the El Morocco makes me want to have a kibbe sandwich.
A kibbe sandwich, oh man. Can you get a kibbe sandwich in Worcester somewhere?
Yeah.
Oh.
George's Bakery, Bananas.
Oh, okay.
Even the Brazilians got it.
All right, good. That's good. Well, that's some of the Middle Eastern food that made the El Morocco famous, and people just really want it. So, all right, let's talk about the El Morocco.
I want to apologize that Bob Maha was Irish.
Bob Maha was Irish.
You thought he was?
I thought Bob Maha. I thought he was. I don't know.
Lebanese.
I thought he was Lebanese.
I thought he was Jewish, but he's Irish.
He's Irish. Bob
He
Maha.
was a host at the El Morocco on Friday and Saturday nights.
Wow.
He was good friends with them, so he would go up and help them, and he would host and bring people to their tables. And
Oh, okay, that's great. Now let's talk about that history up there. That as a kid growing up, though, I mean, did you see any baseball players up there? Did they get any ball players, or just basically entertainment?
all I know is just Shremsky used to go down to Fairway Beef.
Oh yeah, yeah, probably shrimp.
I don't think he even went to the El Morocco. Bob Cousy used to go to the El Morocco a lot,
Oh really?
of what I hear.
Uh-huh.
So everybody knows the Coos.
Okay. Oh,
You
okay.
know?
We get Gordon Hargrove.
Oh, it is Gordon Hargrove.
Yeah,
His wife is Armenian,
Armenian.
and he was very much involved with the El Morocco
Oh yeah.
as his 65 years with the Friendly House.
65 years.
You believe that?
Wow. Some people work for.
He's
a
the
place-
man.
Some people work for a place for 20
You want
years.
to talk
at a
about
time.
Wall Street? Wall Street is a historic street.
Yeah. Wall
you know?
Street, yeah.
For what Gordon Hargrove did for that neighborhood for all those years.
Yeah.
Great man.
Yeah. And you're right. Wall Street is a historic street. I mean, it was kind of a enclave of the Middle Eastern community, the Syrian, the Lebanese community, Swedish community, because Friendly House was started by some Swedish families. I remember Gordon telling the story about how Friendly House began and would help just a few people, and now it's a neighborhood center. It's helping a lot of people do a lot of different things.
Ruth Trainer, you talking about? Thinking about?
No, no, it goes back before Ruth Trainer, but but what it's done for that neighborhood, what it's done for the kids in that neighborhood and the families in that neighborhood. But let's get on to the El Morocco. All right, the music, the bands that played there, not the bands, but the individuals who came up, and it made Worcester such a historical place. in general, you know? I mean, Worcester had quite a few little interesting little clubs in Worcester where famous people used to come and play, you know.
Yeah, they played jazz there.
Mm-hmm.
They played Arabic music, and they'd have a belly dancer come in and dance.
Ah,
So it was pretty lively.
it's pretty lively, but that was the cultural aspect.
They didn't prepare it. It was all like spirit of moment.
Uh-huh.
You know, someone would want to come up, and they come up, and then all of a sudden, it was a festive atmosphere all night.
Yeah. What about like you know how we have the various different Italian festivals and so on that have gone on, and the Greek festivals. Was there a Lebanese festival? Was there? I mean, St. George has a festival every couple of years. You know, look at some of these pictures as they're coming.
There's Julia Prowse.
Julia Prowse.
She signed that photo.
Wow. Yeah, Julia Prowse, great.
She was a beauty.
Dancer.
She was a beauty.
Yeah, she did very nicely. Came to the Morocco, you know,
and there's George Gregory. I don't know if you remember him. He was a piano player.
Oh wow!
And he would go up there and play. He was local, great piano player.
You know, something.
There's Al Pacino. He signed the photograph.
And this was. It looks like this was during a time where he was doing the Godfather 1, where he was really at a pinnacle of popularity.
He might have signed that picture in the 70s.
Yeah.
In the old place, but that was hanging in the new restaurant with all the other pictures.
Wow.
Yeah. You know that guy,
you know,
huh?
Reggie Wally and his band.
That's him playing at the El Morocco, the new one.
The new El Morocco. These guys.
Yeah.
It's quite a band, you know. Sense of pride.
Here's the president. He was at the El Morocco. President Ford.
Oh, Ford, Joe Ford.
So see, they got presidents there. Yeah. Now the guy on the left looks like Howard Cosell, but I don't think it's him.
Yeah, right. I was going to say Bela Lugosi, but
huh?
No.
But Gerald Ford was up there. Marvelous Marvin Hagler. The marvelous one was at the El Morocco.
You know, yeah. What a meeting.
Oh, there she is. I love Toadie Fields.
Toadie Fields, yeah.
She was a big
she's a great
guest
comedian.
on Mike Douglas show.
Mike Douglas.
Merv Griffin.
Merv Griffin. Yeah, she did Mike Douglas too, I remember.
Don't they look like a great couple?
Yeah. See?
That's Paula Booty. She's hugging. There's Arnold Palmer.
Arnold Palmer.
The golfer.
Oh, wow.
So, I mean, everybody came to this place. That's Paula Booty, and that's his wife next to him. And his kids when they were young. That's probably in the 50s. Could be the 40s, the 50s.
Wow.
I know. Had a big family. There he is again with his wife. Her maiden name was Kalo.
Kalo.
As I told you before, she died in 1966.
Wow.
And that's my mother in the 40s.
Ah.
My mother wanted to be a singer, she said.
Uh-huh.
So I don't know what happened.
Yeah, did she sing when you were a little kid?
I don't remember. A lot of yelling, no singing. And that's my Aunt Sally Geese and my grandmother, Julia Geese. And that's my Aunt Mary Geese. So if people watching, they probably remember, the old timers probably remember them. And there's Joel Booty on the right. Now, I don't know where this picture was taken. I don't know if it was taken in Hollywood or here in Worcester at some kind of function, but that's him on the right. Look how young he looked.
Wow. So we had quite a few people go out to Hollywood.
And there's Grace.
Grace.
A Booty.
Grace.
Yeah. She was an accountant or something, a bookkeeper. She handled everything.
Wow.
And I remember always getting paid by her very well. And that's Nafi Booty. She married Joe Samara. So she was Nafi Samara. She was the oldest one to live to 96.
Wow. Look at that.
That's her in the kitchen making grape leaves.
Oh.
Oh, this picture is classic. Emil had that and Joe Booty.
Oh, man.
I love these guys. They were the best.
Uh,
I'll tell you, they were the best guys in the world.
Email.
Here's Bobby Orr and Alan Erickson. Now, Alan Erickson became the head chef after my brother left, but everybody knows Alan Erickson from the Wexford House.
Oh, yeah.
He spent a lot of years there. And there's Alan Erickson with Bobby Orr from the Bruins in the kitchen.
Wow. Quite a few personalities.
There's Brad Davis, the actor.
Bringing all this Hollywood talent
To Worcester.
You know.
We already saw Arnold Palmer.
Yeah. Sports world. And
Let me say about Abby Hoffman, who was from Worcester.
Mm-hmm.
In the late 70s, when he was on the run from the FBI,
Yeah.
and I think he turned himself in or got caught. His brother Jack, you remember his brother Jack?
Yeah. Jack Hoffman, yeah.
Jack went on national TV and said, yeah, when Abby was on the run, he would sneak into Worcester, and we'd go up to El Morocco and have a kibbe sandwich. When I saw that last year, I said, wow, I never saw that before, that interview. Can you imagine he said that on national TV?
Wow.
So everybody had something to say about the El Morocco,
Yeah.
But you remember Richie and Joe Abudi. We used to go down to Dunkin' Donuts at night
Oh, and they'd sit.
on Shrewsbury Street and see them.
Yeah.
They would be sitting in there.
They'd sit down there and just talk old times. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's for some reason or another. I always get that sense that Worcester was a smaller community, or a lot more people knew each other. You know. And people would talk about things. Now, this is from the new El Morocco.
That's the view from the new El Morocco, if you sat outside and ate.
Yeah,
Beautiful view, huh?
yeah. And the new El Morocco didn't last long. You know? How many years do you think the new El Morocco was up there?
20 years?
Oh, 20 years for the new one?
Yeah, about 20-something years. That's what it looked like from the front.
Mm-hmm.
It was a beautiful building, beautiful inside.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought that was a big loan when you brought up about Ed Brook.
Yeah.
I thought that was a big loan to take back in 1980s for a restaurant. They must have been making money.
They must have been
to
making
take,
money.
to get that kind of loan.
Yeah. There are a lot of different finances.
And to build it in a neighborhood like that,
Yep.
up on top of a mountain, right?
Yeah.
Did I ever tell you a story about how I met Ed Brook?
No, tell me.
I was 10 years old bagging, or 11 years old bagging down Dorico's on Shrewsbury Street.
Yeah.
And this guy walks in. I knew him right off the bat. Yeah. And he stoops over and he shakes my hand. He says, how you doing? I'm Senator Ed Brook. That was great.
Yeah.
So I got to meet Senator Brook.
Yeah, it was great. See, I met him in the rotunda of the United States Senate. I was walking through, and I was on my way to Senator Hugh Scott's office to ask for a job. And he's walking past me, and I stopped him. I said, Senator Brook, here's my resume. I'm Bill Coleman. I want to work for you. And he looks, he goes, okay, takes my resume, puts it in his pocket, says, I got to go for a vote. And about 4 days later, I get a phone call from Washington saying, the senator would like you to come down for an interview. And I came down for an interview, and he hired me on the spot. You know?
And then?
Yeah. It was great. It's great. Yeah.
How long did you spend there? Like a year?
I spent a year and a half, and then I stuck with him basically forever, until he passed away. We were always in contact, always, and he only passed away about 4 years ago.
There used to be a Syrian club across from the El Morocco, too.
Really? Yeah.
And there used to be a small little market, Jack Gannon's Market. But the Syrian club, old Syrian guys hung on there. Mr. Asper was 80-something years old when I was like 11. Mm-hmm. And they had a pool table in there you put a quarter in.
Ah.
And Mr. Asper, he was tall. He showed me his hands. He says, Look at, I got arthritis. My fingers are bad. He says, I'll play you a game of pool, he says. He put a quarter in the machine, and the balls came down. He told me to rack them up. All right? I rack them up, and he's going to break. What do you think happened?
What happened?
He ran the table.
Oh.
He ran the table on me, bad hands and all.
Oh, wow.
After he's done, he pulls a picture out of his pocket and said, this is me in 1910.
Wow.
And he started reciting something. Diamond Jim is my name. I don't know what the rest of it was, but, you know, he didn't even give me a shot. Yeah, some good stories up, some good memories. Yeah. You know, a lot of Syrian kids up there. I hung out with Jimmy and Johnny Hafty, Freddie Hafty. You know, we had Italian kids up there too. Mm-hmm. So it was a mix of, along with the Lebanese up on the hill.
Yeah, what do we have here?
Oh, that's the Hafty boys. Jimmy on the left and Johnny on the right.
Wow. And you know, while people are watching this, and we're talking about the Morocco.
That's the Abrahams who lived on Wall Street for a long time.
Wow.
Dickie on the left, Eileen in the middle, and Ronnie on the right. The Abrahams.
But I want people to think, you know, if you remember and if you have some history about where you lived in Worcester, where your family lived in Worcester or grew up in Worcester, and you'd like to share that, you can be a guest on This is Worcester. Put your pictures together. We will coordinate them and come on and talk about it on the show. You know, I'm sure if you get any history, and Mr. Pinto here might be familiar with it, you know, he can co-host with me as we interview people talking about famous people they knew in Worcester or they knew visited Worcester or, you know, things that your family may have been involved in Worcester back in the day. If your family owned a restaurant or if they frequent a restaurant for a time, you know, it's all about, This is Worcester is about Worcester and it's about its history. And today we're talking about the Morocco, we're talking about Wall Street, we're talking about the famous people who came to Wall Street, and we're talking about different communities. Today we're talking about the Lebanese community, the Syrian community, and the Italian community. You know, but we want you to be able to share your story, your family story here on This is Worcester, you know. And so...
Well, in the 60s, Paul, the founder, used to pick me up. He'd say, I'm going to come pick you up. In the wintertime, he'd say, we're going to go down and you're going to shovel Marion's house, and then we're going to watch the football game, Sunday football there. You know? Or if I was dragged up there with my mother, he'd say, we're going to go run errands. He'd take me down to Franklin Street to size fruit, pick up the lettuce, tomatoes, cucumbers, or whatever. Go to Fairway Beef, pick up meat, or Snyder beef, or Chicago beef. Right. Those beef companies that used to be around there. Yeah. And one time, let me tell you a story, standing on the top of Wall Street, looking down on Norfolk, and his mother, who was 110 in 1967, from the old country, still had the clothes on from the old country, sweeping the sidewalk. Wow. Paul says, Richie, I want you to go down and ask my mother if she wants something to eat. That's how he talked. And I said, I don't really want to, right? He says, come on, Richie, go down there and ask my mother if she wants something to eat. I said, Paul, I don't want to go down there and ask her, right? He says, come on, do me that favor. I says, all right. So I walk down the stairs, I get to Norfolk Street, and his mother's sweeping the sidewalk, and I go like this to her. You want something to eat? Want something to eat? And she started yelling at me in Arabic and chasing me with the broom. He's standing up on top of the hill there laughing. Oh, he pulled a gag on me. That's what he did. That's the kind of guy he was. He was a great guy. You know, he was laughing all about it. He knew his mother was going to start yelling at me. But she lived to 110. You believe that?
Wow.
She was born in 1857, died in 1967.
Wow.
A lot of people remember her that I still see today.
Wow.
I said, remember the old man's mother? She used to be down on Norfolk Street. Yeah.
Yeah. quite a few stories, for folks in the old country living for a long time, coming in and just assimilating, as we say.
Imagine if we were live and people were calling in.
Wow.
We'd probably hear some great stories.
Yeah.
At the El Morocco.
Yeah.
It was, they're royal. As far as I go, they're royal.
It's royalty. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. What they did for the city.
Mm. No, yeah. Now even like they talk about city councils like George Wells, who used to make the rounds all over the city, and people would, I guess on election time they'd go and try to get some votes, but they would go up to various different little places like the El Morocco. But the El Morocco, it attracted so many people from Hollywood and from New York and from Boston, and they had to come to Worcester, and they had to come to this nice little restaurant and just come and mingle with the folks and have a good time, and the Abudi family always showed them a good time, got them in the door while the crowd was standing outside waiting to see a personality and maybe getting a autograph or something.
Well, I felt bad for those people waiting in line who couldn't get in.
Yeah.
When somebody was there.
Mm-hmm.
But it didn't look like much outside, but when you went inside, it had a great atmosphere.
Yeah.
When you sat in the dining room.
Wow.
There was a dining room downstairs.
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of people don't know.
Hmm.
So they used that probably when they got overcrowded.
Right.
But yeah, it's a well-known historic spot.
Yeah. And I know by us having these two shows on the El Morocco, it was pretty great. I'm sure a lot of people were watching will think, the El Morocco, they went there. Either their parents went there, their grandparents went there. Sometimes it was a place for people to go and have their first date. It's almost like Harrington Corner, which is down at May Street and Front Street. They used to say, if the place to announce or to ask somebody to marry them was Harrington Corner. That's one of those little historic gems in Worcester. It's a Dunkin' Donuts there right now, but people would say years ago, oh yeah, my dad asked my mom to marry him right on Harrington Corner. And there's a lot of stories like that in the city of Worcester, where different places meant a lot to a lot of people, historic. And the El Morocco was one of those key places. But there's several places in Worcester, people ask people to marry them, Elm Park, Institute Park. But I mentioned Harrington Corner, but, Wall Street. And you've got another famous restaurant somewhat on Wall Street right now, that Italian restaurant. Marimonte.
Oh, what a business they got going.
Really?
Yeah, Pina Contes. We're busy all the time.
Wow.
You know?
It's amazing. Parking is pretty horrible up there. But
You'd be surprised. You put a restaurant somewhere that nobody thinks, it'll work out, and boom.
Boom.
But talking about Harrington Corner, I got to see, I think it was Liggett Drugstore.
Right.
I got to see it in the 60s, what it looked like inside before they changed it all.
Wow.
Like the Union Station, I got to see.
Yeah.
With the long benches in it before it became derelict. I got to see soda shops.
And can you imagine that at one point they were going to tear down Union Station? It was so bad. 1974, I remember seeing the outside of it, and people used to sneak in there, and all kinds of stuff used to go on. But and then they found out around the country they were rebuilding Union Stations everywhere. Washington, D.C. had a Union Station that got rebuilt, and part of one in New York and Baltimore. Philadelphia had wasn't called a Union Station, it's called Penn Station. But all around the country, different railroad stations were being rebuilt. And then Worcester gets on board, and during the administration of Ray Mariano, that's when we started getting money to rebuild Union Station. But I remember fighting for that. I remember going to the public hearings saying that we can't tear this building down. This is part of our history, you know. But we want more and more to do with our history in the city of Worcester. We want to preserve our history. We want to share it with our children, our grandchildren, and our great-grandchildren.
Did you tell me there was something going on at the El Morocco now? There's going to be a plaque put up there?
Well, they're talking about making a historical marker, you know, to a historical marker in the city of Worcester for the El Morocco. And it would be great for the Lebanese and the Syrian community, you know, to have those efforts recognized. And whatever we hear, we will share with you. But this is a part of our history. But I want to remind you again, if your family has a history in the city of Worcester and you've got pictures and you'd like to share those pictures and tell the story of your family's contribution to things in the city of Worcester, you know, please feel free to become a guest here on This is Worcester. My guest today is Mr. Richard Pinto, whose family worked at the El Morocco. He worked at the El Morocco as a kid. He remembers the Aboudi family, you know, and Emil Haddad, you know, and he was quite the guy.
And so on and so on.
And so many
the
people.
McCools, the Samaras.
The Samaras.
And they go on and on.
Great people, though. You know, people looked out for each other. You know, they looked out. They cared a lot about people. But so, any more stories that you want to share?
That's pretty much it. Wall Street is a very historic street in Worcester. And
the Orthodox Church that's on Anna Street right now was at Friendly House, where Friendly House is now, and there's just so much history in Worcester, you know. And like I said, we want to tell Worcester's history as much as we can. I want to thank you for joining me today. I want to thank Mr. Rich Pinto for helping us learn a little bit more about the El Morocco and his contribution to Worcester. And in the future, we'll be searching out for other stories about Worcester and Worcester's history. You know, I'm Bill Coleman, and thank you for joining us for another episode of This Is